Welcome to our third session, where we will be covering AngularJS data binding and templates. By the end of this session, you will understand how to bind data between your Angular components and views, allowing you to create dynamic and interactive web pages. Introduction to data binding. Data binding is one of the core features of Angular. It allows the synchronization of data between the component and the view. This means any changes made in the component's logic are automatically reflected in the view and vice versa. There are four types of data binding: string interpolation, property binding, event binding, and two-way binding. Types of data binding. Let's take a closer look at each type of data binding. String interpolation. String interpolation allows us to display data in the view using double curly braces. Property binding binds values from the component to HTML element properties. Event binding lets us handle user input events like clicks. Lastly, two-way binding allows for real-time synchronization between the view and the component. String interpolation. In string interpolation, we use double curly braces to bind data directly to the view. This is great for displaying dynamic content. For example, if we bind a component property called title and updates to title in the component will automatically update the view. Property binding. Property binding is used to bind values from the component to HTML attributes. We do this by wrapping the property in square brackets. For example, in the case of an input field, we can bind the value attribute to a property in the component so that it's automatically updated. Event binding. Event binding lets us handle user events such as mouse clicks, key presses, or form submissions. By using parentheses, circular brackets, we can bind the event to a handler function in our component. This allows our app to respond to user actions and update the view dynamically. Two-way data binding. Two-way data binding combines property and event binding. It allows for bidirectional synchronization between the component's property and the HTML view. This is particularly useful for form inputs where user input needs to be reflected back in the component. We achieve this using the syntax ng model is equal to value. But first we need to import forms module in our project or Angular application. Practical demo. Let's move on to the demo. In this demo, we will implement all four types of data binding. You will learn how to display dynamic data using string interpolation, handle user events with event binding, and synchronize form inputs with two-way data binding. By the end of this demo, you will have a better understanding of how to create interactive components. To recap, we covered the different types of data binding in Angular: string interpolation, property binding, event binding, and two-way binding. Data binding allows us to connect our components' logic with the view, creating dynamic, responsive user interfaces. In the next session, we will focus on Angular directives and how they can enhance your app's functionality. Thank you.